So this is the correction of the text you wrote last class. It's a questionnaire that where you have to prepare and write a letter to your severe parents in relation with having a job. And you must convince them, that's the purpose of writing, to convince them that you will succeed at working and going to school at the same time. Um, you decided that the name of the student would be Anthony Degg, 16 years old from Saint Nicolas, and you said that it's preparing us for our future job. That's your major argument. And finally, that what is the decision you took in relation with having a job? You just wrote the word yes, but you could have written there a sentence saying, hi mom, hi dad, I decided to have a job, and no matter what you will say, my decision is taken, and here's why. And then go on with your buddy and talk about the description of the advantages of having a job, where you say, it makes money, makes us more responsible. Uh, I should have put that in green because to make money, to be more responsible are two things that were taken from the text, which is very important to use when you write an evaluation like that one. Uh, in the possible concerns from the parents or the disadvantages of having a job, less time to sleep that was taken in the text, the stress that was taken in the text, and less time for schoolwork. So this is very good. There's one thing though, you used the word recuperation, which should have been remedial class. So I wrote it right there. And you say that our parents will worry about our success. Same thing that the school work. Same thing then the school work. Uh, you could have said I promise I will succeed, or add something like that. In how to find a job, you talked about the volunteering, the babysitting, the place where you want to work, skills and abilities, as well as being enthusiastic. That was all good for because it was taken in the text that you read. So you want to make sure you use these in the text that you write. Now, time to correct your text here. In the introduction, you say, hi, mom and dad, I wrote you this letter. You have to say, I wrote this letter to you to explain. And then you delete this to explain why. Let me just... Alright, so I found how to strike those two words out of your text to explain why I want to have a job this year. I want to have one because I think it could be helpful for my future. So this is very good because we see that you're talking to your parents. So let me comment on that here. We feel that you are talking to your parents. Very good. Now, in the body now, the advantages work contain a lot of advantages. So here I would say I would use the word working instead of work. Working, and then I would put an S there. Working contains a lot of advantages. First, it makes us more independent. When we find a job, we don't need the money of our parents. So here, we don't need the money of our parents is a good argument in an informative text or an argumentative text. But you're writing a letter to your parents, so it has to be something like where we see that you're talking to your parents. So when we find a job, if when I find a job, I will not need your money anymore, or I will not need as much money. I will not need as much money from you anymore. That would be an idea where you could show that you're writing a letter. So there you will be penalized in the form. So you can buy something without the consent. The consentment, we say the consent of your parents. Next, it gives us work experience. If you have the experience of one job, you can find another job without difficulty. That's good. And third, you meet new people and then you become more sociable. So here you have the word experience that is related to the text. But there's not much that's related to the text that you read. So I don't see what you wrote from the plan earlier that you worked on earlier. In the disadvantages, there are some disadvantages to have a job while going to high school. First, we already have some stress. That's very good for the word stress here, which was taken in the text as well. We have some stress about exams, so having a job will not help reduce our stress. And second, we will have less time. That's the same thing I was taken in the text. That's good for our homework. And you forgot to put a period here. So once again, there is not a lot of information taken from the text. And this here, this whole paragraph is not a letter to your parents. It is more like information or arguments. You have to be careful on the form there. How to get a job. First, you need to have a resume. So that was taken from the text, the resume, good. Must contain your ability, your volunteering. So ability was in the text, volunteering too. This is very good. Your skills in the text as well. Every little experience you have, like babysitting, that was in the text as well, will convince your future boss to choose you. Once again, on the form, here is a big problem because you're not writing a letter to your parents. You're giving information, not writing a letter. And finally, in conclusion, you have to let me have a job. Oh, there we're back to writing a letter, which is good. It will prepare, not preparing, it will prepare me for my future job. Don't worry, I will continue to persevere. To persevere. Okay, let's continue. Don't worry, I will continue to persevere in my schoolwork. And here we see that it's not finished, so you would get a penalty as well right there. So the text, the major problem is about writing a letter to your parents. Now let's go see the evaluation form. So here is the evaluation rubric. After thinking about it carefully, I think that the student's text loosely combines ideas and language from the texts in the magazine with own ideas in the context of his or her own, and that would not be a business project, but a having a job in high school project. And student's text partially meets task requirement because yes, you are writing a letter, but that letter is not is not always there when I read your letter. So finally, you would end up with a 20 out of 30 in this section. And on the other hand, the text contains some errors in form, but all the errors do not impede understanding, and it is almost going in this category here. So I wouldn't feel comfortable giving a 25. That's tough to rate with the mouse. A 25 out of 30, which ends up being 45 out of 60 anyway. But as I told you, you're evaluated in the C2 for 30 points and the C3 for 30 points as well. So as a group, you're stronger in the writing or the formulation of the message, and you're weaker in the reinvestment of understanding of texts because you forgot to write more elements that came from the text directly, or put it in your own words, the ideas that were contained in the text that you read before. So once again, all the important things that could have been put in your text have been highlighted in this document here that you can easily access from the page where you came here, the written exam tips, which is here, and the text is right there. Hope this one records correctly and took a little bit less time to do and was more silent, and hope it will help you for your final exam that starts next week. Take care.